Okay, so now what we're going to talk about is the adjacency matrix and what it displays. So I've got my matrix already set up here, which is displaying the data for this graph just over here. So what it's actually telling me is the number of ways that I can get from A to A, from A to B, from A to C, or likewise from C to A. Because it's not directional, I don't have to worry about where it's to and from. It's just the roads connecting them. So you can see that from C to A there's 1, B to A, 1. And you can see here that this is actually a loop, so we do count that. From A to A there is 1. But for the rest, for example, B to B, there is no loop, so there's no way to get from B to B. So we just fill that in with a 0. So let's jump over to a blank sheet and have a look at one of the prep questions. So I'm going to start with prep for A. So let's get that happening. So far I should have been able to complete Prep 1, Prep 2 and Prep 3 from the previous videos. So now we're just going to work on Prep 4A. So gives us our graph. So we've got A, B and C, and then D is up here. Now I've got a loop coming off of A. Got an edge joining A and B, and an edge joining B and C. And D is an isolated vertex. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my matrix A, B, C, D. So I could just go and I just label all my vertices A, B, C, D. Nice and simple. So A again on this example has a loop. So A to A, I'm going to put a 1 just in there. A to B, I've got one way that I can get there. A to C, I've got nothing. And A to D, I've got nothing either. Alright, let's jump over to B. So B to A, I've got 1. B to B, I've got nothing because there's no loop or anything there, so there's 0. B to C, there's 1 edge connecting those two. And B to D, again, nothing because D is an isolated vertex. Alright, moving over to C. C to A, I've got nothing. And you can see this is actually the same as this point here. So I've got C to A, nothing. Just wanted to point that out. So C to B, got 1. C to C, nothing because again no loop. And C to D, nothing because D is isolated. So then we're coming to point D. And I'm just going to run zeros right across because of course D is isolated, so there is no way to get from D to any of the other vertices. Hopefully that's all making sense. Alright, let's have a look at just one more. If you want to jump off now and get into the work, by all means get into it. Just going to go through one more, just to be sure we've got it down pat. So A, B, so A, B, C, got D in the center here, and then an E out here. So A to D, B to D, D to C, and D to E. Okay, so I'm just going to set up the matrix again for this one. So I've got A, B, C, D, and dog in the background, E. And again, A, B, C, D, and E. So A to A, there's none. Again, no loops. We can actually just go across and go that there is only an A to D. So the rest are going to be zeros. We can just keep it nice and simple. So moving on to B. Again, we've only got a B to D. So a 1 there, and the rest are going to be zeros. C, again, just C to D, and the rest are going to be zeros. D to E is our only one. The rest are zeros. And then we've got E to D. Oh, sorry. I have stuffed that row up. Did that backwards. So it's actually, so D to A we've got. D to B we've got. D to C we've got. And we don't have a D to D, so that is the only zero there. My mistake. And then jumping down to E, we've got E to D, which I've put in, and the rest are zeros. So that's our adjacency matrix for that one. Alright, so now you should be able to work through the rest of this section. So 10.1 now should be right to go. Check back to any of the videos if you need any more help.